Now time for the 7 things you'll be talking about today. Number 7.
Well, I hope the people in Madison like paying $28.5 million for a new baseball stadium. Ha, just kidding. You guys already spent like $150 million on it. Now you're spending $28.5 on a 4-story expansion at Toyota Field to meet updated MLB standards, including upgraded training spaces and female umpire accommodations, which to me is still hilarious that that's kind of the catalyst for all of this. It's like protecting a little smelt fish. Nobody cares, but we go out of our way in order to do all this stuff. Ball Corp, LLC, the Rocket City Trash Panda's owner, supports the plan and will help cover the bond payments. Now, some council members expressed concerns over the city's projected minimum revenue share of $1 million annually. City officials project up to $158 million in returns over 25 years with this plan, while a cheaper $4 million renovation option would generate no significant revenue.
Number 6.
Senate confirmation hearings for several of Trump's cabinet nominees took place, including Marco Rubio for Secretary of State. He emphasized Arctic trade routes and reaffirmed Cuba's designation as a state sponsor of terrorism, even though Biden's undoing that. Pam Bondi, nominated for Attorney General, faced tough questions concerning potential conflicts of interest and criticized President Biden's decision to commute federal death row inmates. She clashed with Adam Schiff, a Democrat from California, yikes, over his censuring that he received for being dishonest as he was asking questions that were relatively dishonest. I will say this, it went exactly as I expected. I told you Pam Bondi, whoever the AG was going to be, would be brought up, and then they would say, hey, are you going to do Donald Trump's bidding? And she would say, no, of course not. And then they would say, we don't believe you. And she's like, okay. And then they would move on, and she'd be confirmed.
Number 5.
The long shot process of term limits is back on the table, and I got to tell you, I know I put this number 5, but it should be like number 6,225 because let me just put it to you this way, okay? It ain't never going to happen, okay? They're not going to term limit themselves, okay? You put a bill out that says the current people can serve for eons, and then maybe you might get something. Until you do something like that, this isn't going to happen. But United States Senator Katie Britt and United States Senator Ted Cruz are reintroducing a constitutional amendment seeking to impose term limits on Congress, capping senators at 2 6-year terms. In the House of Representatives, they want to cap those at 3 2-year terms. That's not enough, by the way. Just throwing that out there. 6 years, not enough in the House. Britt emphasized the term limits will restore accountability and ensure leaders remain connected to the people they serve, while Cruz highlighted concerns about career politicians dominating Washington. Well, if you have these short terms, you know who's going to dominate Washington? Their staffs.
Number 4.
In response to the tragic terrorist attack in New Orleans, Mobile has decided that they're going to do a little something to protect this year's Mardi Gras. That's what they're doing. The Mobile City Council approved a $167,371 purchase of a portable bollard arrest system from Delta Scientific Corp. This is basically a way to stop cars from driving through crowds. They can stop a 15,000-pound truck traveling at 30 miles per hour when paired with additional barricades borrowed from Tuscaloosa and the city vehicles to block unauthorized access. The Public Safety Director, Rob Lasky, emphasized the urgency of the purchase to ensure safety before the parades begin, while long-term solutions are still being explored. When I went to the World Series, they put giant dump trucks at every single corner blocking all the streets. It was pretty crazy. That's what they should do.
Number 3.
Candace Brown, a breastfeeding mother from Jefferson County, was forced to attend jury duty with her 3-month-old baby, and then she was threatened with DHR. Yeah, they threatened her and said, if you bring this baby back in here, we'll put the baby in jail. That's what they said. It's something along those lines. The baby could not take a bottle. Despite her attempts to be excused, the judges told her no and threatened to call DHR if she brought the child back. I mean, it's just crazy. There's really nothing else to say. There's no other way to put it. This is just completely insane stuff. The staff was rude. The room they put her in to breastfeed while they were deciding all of this. was dirty and nasty, and there was a note from another mother who had been forced to breastfeed in there. Just a complete failure of leadership in Jefferson County. Now the legislature's gonna get involved.
Number 2.
President Joe Biden, a pathetic husk of a human being, delivered his final Oval Office address, his farewell address. Goodbye, Joe. Just leave. That'd be fine. You don't have to come and sit on a sad little pillow in a little room and pretend you're at the Oval Office. You don't have to do that. Somehow he's emphasizing his administration's accomplishments in job creation, economic growth, and foreign policy. Yeah, your foreign policy has been amazing. Ukraine and Russia have been at war the entire time you've been president, and Israel and Hamas have been going on forever. What are we doing? I didn't even mention Afghanistan, the failure he had there. Now, he also reflected on his 50-year public service career. Again, he was a grifting scumbag liar, so I don't know why he'd be doing this. And he expressed gratitude for the for the privilege of serving. He built the entire country. What are we talking about here? He's still mad about losing an election and being double-crossed, by the way.
Now, time for the number 1 thing you'll be talking about today.
Okay, Israel and Hamas have reached a 42-day ceasefire deal. Sort of. I mean, they're going to release 33 hostages. Maybe. The civilians and soldiers, they will then exchange them for Palestinian prisoners and humanitarian aid. So Hamas holds hostages that they will trickle out in exchange for exchange rates of 1-3 to 1-57. So they release one hostage and they get 57 militants back. And the only way this makes any sense is if they're going to put trackers on them and get them later. But I don't think that's what we're doing. The agreement brokered by Qatar and Egypt, the Trump administration incoming, and the Biden administration allegedly will end to the cessation of fighting forever, which is not, of course, going to happen. They will get more humanitarian aid into Gaza. They will let people that have been injured in the fighting, Hamas terrorists who have been injured in fighting, to leave and get medical attention. I mean, Hamas's terrorist gambit is working. They don't care about the civilians who are dying. They don't care about themselves dying. But they are going to get a bunch of stuff out of this. It's amazing. President Biden and President-elect Trump are both arguing over who gets to take credit for this. Both are, with Trump crediting his election victory for the diplomatic breakthrough. He's right, by the way. Everyone acknowledges that. Trump's erraticism is a weapon here. There's a saying, let me see if I get this right. There's a saying that says, the kind fear the cruel, and the cruel fear a madman. And in this particular case, Trump is seen as a madman. Now, whether you think he is or not, it doesn't matter. A lot of people think that he is. And that is why this deal took place. They fear him. And that's the reality. That's the truth of this. We will continue here. You can get your thoughts in right now. It is, of course, very simple to do. All you got to do is talk or text 866-494-WVNN, 866-494-9866. And get your thoughts in, get your questions in for 10 with him. There's a lot going on there, and you can do it right now, right here on WVNN. We'll continue. Stay tuned.
Get WVNN's Dale Jackson 7 Things You Should Be Talking About Today right in your email box every morning. Go to yellowhammernews.com and sign up today.